Right.
I think
Brother Myron has his hand up.
Yes,
Go ahead,
sir.
Brother Myron.
I do see what you're saying, and I do feel your heart. It's like you know that these books are going to be a healing process for us as a people, and it's going to create a mindset that's going to heal us in some degree. I'm not saying that it's going to solve all our problems, but it's going to give us a perspective about ourselves more so than what we already had. What we had was a perspective from another people. Now we're getting it from our own. So that makes a big difference. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And then keep this in mind too. We're getting this as a group publicly, but the whole point is that individually for years, the families that have been living off these books have been getting that. It's like that, everybody's out there looking for a solution. How do we do this? How do we help people's lives be better? The blueprint is there again and again and again. They tell you because you have the father sitting around telling these stories to the children. That's how you get that. That's how we get there. So again, how do you recreate that in this virtual, in these new technologies, given that you don't have, old grandpa smoking his pipe and spitting his juices out or whatever. But yeah, it's that kind of thing that comes to mind.
Question.
Yes, sir.
In terms of uh, looking at this genre of books that we're talking about, um, how would they compare to, and are you familiar with a body of writings that are called the Black Ravens? And it's part of it's Arabic literature, and it's the experience of enslaved Africans who lived in Islamic countries who were brought there as slaves, very similar to Black people in the Americas. And it covers their
I
experience.
don't know about the Ravens. That sounds like a great article or discussion to include on the site. Like do a video on it, do a discussion on it, do a something. Again, this is America. We're celebrating America's 250th next year and Alex Haley's Roots 50th birthday next year. And we understand American means a lot of other stuff too. But it's again core FBA stuff. So no, what I don't know about Ravens, it has nothing to do with Arabic stuff. That is a great connection. That's the kind of connection that um, speaks to why this archive is a treasure trove forever for all kinds of related research. So do you see how research on maybe how books are done in some other country by people of African descent would be a great contribution, great discussion to have on this site.
Yeah, I think it would. Actually, for example, there are about 312 million Afro-Brazilians, people of African descent who were enslaved in Brazil. And, they're today, they're the descendants of people who had a similar experience and who think slavery ended in like 1888 for them. They also had segregation. They also have continued to experience racism. And there's a whole body of literature associated with them. A lot of it is written in Portuguese. And but in other words, this is something that there is some element of this in many places all around the world where Black people were distributed as part of the transatlantic slave trade. And
Yeah, this is about families, just so you know. But right, the
right,
families are all around the world. Families
right.
have been
Well,
writing about their
mhm,
stories since day one.
right.
So yes, these are
And
very common
mhm,
texts. We know that it's mostly a 19th and 20th century thing in terms of, actually putting it in a book.
right,
And so that's what this archive is about. But
right.
absolutely, these stories, I mean, family stories are as old as families.
Right. And connecting them like the ones because you have the transatlantic slave trade, the trans-Saharan slave trade, the East African and the
And just
Egyptian
know that
slave
they're
trade.
not about slave trade. Again,
Oh
you're in
no,
the
I'm
history
not focusing
now,
on slave trade. I'm talking
which
about
is
the people.
something. Oh, okay, yeah, just so
I'm
you
talking
know
about the
that these
people
are
and
about this.
families who are
Right.
similarly situated all around the world. And like, for example, and I know in the dissertation, I know you did additional books, but I think you talk about or analyze 23 books in the dissertation and in terms of as a sample size as to whether or not 23 would be deemed a valid sample size to generalize
That's
to
a
the whole.
great question.
Mhm, mhm,
So, like I said, the Library of Congress list is only 233.
right.
So, from that perspective, it's 10% of the sort of what's out there in the general public.
Okay.
The fabulous thing about research, and you know this, the point is that the contours of the sample is not the number. Um, and now, I mean, I don't know if I necessarily would want to, but we could do really quick textual analysis of, big data, deep,
Mhm,
multiple texts at a time.
right.
But nothing was going to get this level of depth with a human being rather than AI
Mhm,
making decisions about how to code things and what is similar to what and all of that. But now that we have this core, um, yeah, it's a fabulous thought to, run a bunch of these, all 600, 300, 1,000, through a search and glean some things that way. That's a beautiful thought. One of the things that this touches my heart. Again, many people don't like it, but like it or not, that's our reality. We are very much, of course, a capitalist country, and our social life, our life is part of our cultural life, meaning the stuff we buy. So we're connected with brands and um, organizations. So those come up in our stories. So having these brands celebrate the families is a big part of what we're doing too. For instance, people write about grandpa so and so just always had to have ketchup on his scrambled eggs and uh and not just any ketchup, had behinds. Um Heinz honoring the family, we are pleased to have been a part of your memories over the generations kind of thing. The different cars. I mean, we named so many brands and stuff in telling our stories. Again, we talked about songs, that's one thing, but this whole cultural world that we live in shows up in our stories and giving the people on the other side of those cultural experiences the opportunity to honor our families is a big part of this project also.